Welcome back, traders and investors. We have a special guest on this morning, Joe Gits, who's president and CEO of Social Market Analytics. And what his firm does is it provides subscribers with real-time social sentiment signals that consistently predict movement in specific stocks. Joe, how you doing this morning?
I am doing well this morning, guys. How are you?
Good. We're good. I got Kyle the Snazzy Bazzy on with me today. Dennis is taking a few days off, so
Oh,
maybe.
I didn't know that was you, Kyle. How are you?
I am
Gosh, I was talking nice about you, and you were right there. How creepy is
well,
that?
Joe. That just made me feel really, really gooey inside. And I was telling everybody, and I just mentioned it to you. For everyone that doesn't know, I mean, Joe's one of the smartest guys you'll meet out there, and his team over at Social Market Analytics, SMA Info on the Twitter sphere at SMA Info. Joe, you were almost our CTO, so I got all the faith in the world in you with what you guys are building over there, and I love seeing all the interaction and questions you get here on the show. So everyone, make sure to pipe in when we're talking about stocks. Joe's firm, and Joel, I know you're going to go over more of his intro, but Joe Gets his firm actually looks at some really cool data that I haven't seen anywhere else out there, that actually I've seen it as predictive on stock movement based off of verified social accounts out there. So really, really cool stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
wow, that's really nice. Thanks, Kyle.
Okay. So what do we got? What do we got going today?
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through some of the items that are on our Edge report this morning that our clients are looking at, and I will start, if this works for you guys, I'll start with the current top, then we'll go to the bottom, and then we can go to the usual questions. How's that?
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, so number one on the list this morning, and the number that I'm going to be quoting you are basically our S score, and that tells you how many standard deviations away from the normal level of conversation that that particular security is. Okay, so a 4 standard deviation means the current conversation is 4 standard deviations more positive than the normal conversation. So number one on our list today is OVTI.
OVTI. Holy mackerel. We got a guy in the office here has been pounding the table. Where's Kolb on this one? Where's the Kolbster? He was begging me to buy this thing at $15.90. He was begging me to buy it. I wonder if he had some information. But anyways, this is already trading up a lot, Joe. It just traded up to 1890.
What they're talking about this morning is unusual call volume, buying call volume this morning, and we're getting a lot of tweets compared to the normal baseline. So it's obviously showing up in all the pre-market movers alerts. It's also showing up in some of the volume calls, but the big thing they're talking about is unusual call volume with bullish momentum this morning.
So that was a call volume from yesterday then, correct? Obviously.
That's call volume from yesterday. Yep, call volume from yesterday. And then they're obviously talking about the 3 hours ago that JP Morgan raised their price target on that one.
And do you know where that call volume, is anybody tweeting about where that call volume, what strike price it was at here or not?
You know, I'm not seeing it at 140 characters.
Okay, all right. So, man, this
no, that's the downside of that's the downside of this one. So OVTI this morning. All right, number 2 on the list. And what's unusual on that OVTI before we move on is the volume is also 4 standard deviations more than normal. So that means the conversation is a lot more positive and a lot more people are talking this morning. So that's a really nice signal. Okay, number 2 on that list is Splunk. This morning.
Okay.
And they're talking price target raised to 120 by FBR Capital was the last one that came up.
Okay.
Joe, I got a question real quick, and this is something when I was going over the data and looking at your guys' feed, you talk about the standard deviations, and we look at pretty much -4 to 4. And when we're looking at 4 on the positive side, I mean, that's crazy good.
That's crazy
news.
good.
And what I was always looking at when I actually pulled up your dashboard was I'd like to see some really good volume in this the social presence as well. So
yes,
the S volume, right?
Yeah, the SV score. The SV score is a measure of abnormal volume in that security too. So for for example, so we're talking about Splunk right now. The S score is 3.97. That means that the conversation is more positive than about 99% of prior conversations, and the volume is 4 standard deviations more than normal. So already to go ahead.
Joel, next time we have Joe on the show next week, I want to get a log into the dashboard. I want to show people what we're talking about because it's really, really cool stuff when you actually see it in action.
Yeah, it is. So for that point, guys, go to our website. Our customers have already gotten a couple of reports from us this morning. So as securities move higher and lower on that sentiment report, that sentiment list, they're getting updates. So socialmarketanalytics.com, and you can go and see this stuff real time. So Splunk is number 2.
Okay.
And Splunk is number 2. And again, they're talking about raising a price targets to 120. And it got upgraded from this morning from Credit Suisse, Morgan Stanley, Cantor, and FBR Capital. This morning, already upgraded that particular security.
What's the S score on it?
The S score is a 3.9, so that's really high too. Yeah, and it's going to be a little bit of a volatile day today because one of the anecdotal metrics that we have is the high sentiment security stocks. Ratios relative to the low sentiment security stocks, and what we're seeing is that there is a lot of divergence today.
Joe, have you done anything like the two issues that you brought up here are both trading much like this is trading up 440.
Oh yeah.
And it's also traded up to 101 and change 101.70.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the old trader in me would be man, sell. It's a short.
Yep.
This is ridiculous. Have you done any kind of studies where you've taken these stocks that have had like these exaggerated that have already moved? Like you mentioned one last week, Josie Banks was trading down $8, but you had a positive reading on it, and to me, that was tasty. Okay, have you done anything with like everything's positive now, up 440? Have you done anything that now it doesn't go up $6, $7, $8? Intraday you have a chance to make some money. Have you been able to do any studies with that with your data?
Here, when you go on the long side, these high sentiment security stocks will normally open the close trade higher. But if we jump to the short side for a second, the negative S score stocks, you will see a lot of overreaction on the negative side. So the stock will open up down $10, and then it'll recover. And that's at around a 2 standard deviation. You start seeing some continuation on it at the negative 3 standard deviations. You start seeing that continuation. But as the old trader in me and the old option guy in me on that short side, you'll look out for those bounces.
Okay.
But on the upside, it'll usually those stocks will trade higher today, open to close.
Hey Joe, do you mind? I got your dashboard open up on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
Can I take a screenshot of the top 10 and upload it to the chat real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, this is some really cool stuff for trading ideas. Take a look at it and study it a little bit. Hopefully, it's another tool you guys can put in your belt to make some solid trading ideas and calls this morning.
And that's exactly right. It's a tool for your toolbox. So I was speaking at a sell-side conference this week down in Florida, and quick note, it was 85 and sunny there. And they said that all the buy-side firms that I was talking to down there, they said the average quant model has 5 inputs. This is a component to the model. It is not the model.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
Exactly.
Okay,
so
so
it's part of it.
And your listeners are certainly on top of that. All right, so we got Splunk. Kohl's. What's interesting about Kohl's this morning is that people were reacting to the positive news earlier this week on JCPenney and think it's going to follow through with Kohl's. And these guys are talking about getting in Kohl's at the open today. And the only kiss of death on that one, guys, is that it was mentioned on Kramer yesterday. So you got to keep.
Yeah, we got a good level though, Joe. I just want to point out to our traders, this thing was at $52 3 days ago. Hit 57.33 in yesterday's session.
Yeah.
Peel back, close at 55.74. That 57.33 coincides with the high that you had at 57.33 on January 10th. And then you had another high at 57.53. So mounds of resistance here. You got to rally another stick before you get there. So, yeah, if you're buying the open here, 55.74, I'd play close to the bell around the close there because I think it's going to have some trouble, maybe even in the high 56s.
Cool. All right.
All right, what else
Very
you got
cool.
for us there, Joe?
All right, so we got Kohl's, Natellos Holdings. I don't know what wireless communications.
You're gonna have to.
Holdings.
What's the symbol on that one, Joe?
NTLS.
Oh, okay.
NTLS, and they're talking about they got an invite to present at a Raymond James Institutional Investor conference. And so people are talking about how that's going to be positive for the security.
Yeah, well, it needs something positive.
It needs something positive. I was looking at the price action this morning.
Yeah, this is what I'm buying, Joe. I'm running out, man. Made a low at 13.40 yesterday. I don't know what inspired that news, but rallied back to close at 14.86. On the upside, folks, 3 highs in a row right at this 15.60, 15.70 area, so keep an eye on that major resistance.
All right, and you guys want to jump to the short side?
Sure, hell yeah.
All right. So guys, if you guys want to see those 10s, top 10, bottom 10, head over to our site. You can see that. All right. Right now, the number one negative on our
Deckers
sentiment, negative 3.76, is MDVN. Is that MediaVision?
MDVN. Let me pull it up here.
It's Motivation Healthcare.
Yeah. And that's interesting because there's some dichotomy in that one, but yeah,
wow.
it's getting a negative sentiment score.
It is getting lit up.
Yeah, it's getting. So here it's Cowen cuts MDVN to an underperform from a market perform. Jefferies cuts to hold from a buy. So they're talking about some downgrades that are coming on that one.
Don't know what to say about that
cool
one,
stuff.
Joe. We just made a pre-market low at 73.42 and just not showing any 73.17. Boy, this stock hasn't been in this area since it bottomed at 72.11 on February 5th. So keep an eye on that if you're shorting it. That could be a possible support level.
Yep. And number one on negative, and then KBR is number 2, technical services.
KBR Services?
Yep, KBR Inc.
Wow, that's trading down quite a bit, too. Whew. Just made a pre-market low here at 26.88. This is the lowest this issue has traded in quite some time here. You had a low, let's see, going back November 2012 at 25.95. So if you're playing a short on this, may want to keep an eye on that $26 level.
And what's funny about this one is that tweet after tweet after tweet this morning is another firm downgrading this stock.
Huh.
So, Joe, I got a great question here. So, Jared, one of our chat room guys, just came in saying, I own some Decker right now, okay? And if we're looking, if I log in right now and I search up Deck, if I own something right now, how can I look at this, especially if it's on it's showing red for the social sentiment?
All right, so you can go to a Get Chart, and if you're a subscriber, you can get the real-time sentiment on. You get the real-time sentiment. What you see on the free chart is daily. So the current sentiment on Deck right now is a negative 2.518. So that is a statistically significant negative value on that. And so, yeah, it's not.
When you say statistically relevant, what do you mean?
Well, when you if you think about our S score, you're looking at the conversation on a standard normal curve. So unless you're getting to 2 standard deviations positive, 2 standard deviations negative, you're really within that normal range. So once you're 2 standard deviations positive, that means the conversation is more positive than 96% of the prior conversations. So people are really going negative on that particular security. And what's interesting about DEC is the volume is also increasing as well.
Hey, Jared, I just took a screenshot of the graphs in the social market analytics dashboard for DEC. So check that out. I just dropped that screenshot in there.
Yeah, so that's DEC. Just a couple more of these couple more of these short ones for you guys, and then we can go through the standards if that works for you. All right. So on the bottom, we've got Walter Investment Management Corp. (WAC).
Okay.
That's a good name for a short stock. (WAC).
Yeah.
Fast growth and regulatory pain for WAC is what people are talking about. WAC's in they're having some regulator problems.
That's never a good thing. That thing
No.
is probably
No.
accounting problems, regulatory problems, not a good thing. You get a little pop up. I don't even know if this print is even one share traded at $26.79.
Yeah. So that's what I find really interesting about social media is that for you active traders out there, it will bring you new ideas to trade, and as I said, our subscribers have gotten a couple of these reports already today, and it gives you a chance to go in and look at these stocks and learn what they do and really dig in and see what's going on with these stocks. So it gives you a new security to trade outside of your Apple, Google, Facebook. A couple of stocks that are on this bottom 10 that people are going to trade today. Citigroup is a negative. That comes in as a negative 3.15 today. There are a couple of the big ones that I know everyone follows. So we've got the Apple is absolutely neutral. It's a 1 standard deviation. Twitter is a 1.5. Facebook is absolute 0. Google's a negative 1.8. Chipotle Mexican Grill is at a 2 standard deviations positive today.
Joe, I got
1.6. Go ahead, bud.
Joe, we only got 6 minutes left here before we have to get to our next guest, but I want to bring up this point because it's very important. Jared in the chat just said, I don't want to come off rude or not. Jared, you're not coming off rude. If you got a question, you got to ask it, man. And it says,
no, not at all.
This sediment stuff is after the fact of the stock dropping. I would think it would be obvious that the sediment is going to be terrible when a stock drops. This is a really important point that I know you get all the time. And I said this is predictive because I've seen this be very predictive.
Yeah.
But is this a laggard? Like, how can social sediment?
So, Jared, I appreciate the question. And when I'm talking to buy-side firms, I get the question. When you look at, there is, of course, people talking about what happened in the security, but what we look for are the intentions of these professional investors. So the fact that the stock traded down yesterday, maybe it was down 8 or 9%, that's not included in our calculations going forward. What we're looking for is what people are going to do today, going long, buying calls, buying puts, moving the stock. And what we found in the actual data going back our entire history is that at a statistically significant level, these stocks move higher. The Sharpe ratio on these securities means that these stocks are moving higher, open to close, at a statistically significant level. And what I'll do, Kyle, is I'll send you the cumulative performance charts of this, and there is a lagging component, but the data is predictive, and the proof is in the pudding when you look at the Sharpe ratios, the Sartino ratios, the T statistics. And we actually answer that in writing on our website under the frequently asked questions. So there's a good write up there. But thanks, Jared. I appreciate the question.
It's a great question.
What about? We just got another minute here. What kind of overall market sentiment are you getting today?
I was saying that today. So if I look at, there's a slightly positive sentiment. So the lowest of the top 10 S scores is 3.367, and it's only a negative 2.11 on the. So there is some slight upside bias today, but not significant.
Right. Okay.
Not significant.
Gits are in. DJ just asked. Social media stock tweets also follow sediment changes. What accounts are you pulling? Because I know you said you're pulling like 750,000 accounts. What social platforms are those?
We get StockTwits and Twitter, so we do include the StockTwits database, which is a great database. That's a nice self-policing platform. So the accounts that we're pulling that we've certified, so we look at their entire body of work, how often they post, what they post about, are they professionals, and you don't have to be an analyst at Morgan Stanley or Deutsche Bank to be a professional. I'm sure a lot of your users who tweet are included in our metrics, but we filter those accounts and. Those accounts are both Twitter and StockTwits.
All right, folks, we got to wrap this up as we're going to be transitioning over to the other interview here pretty soon. Joe, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
As you get off, pop into that chat room. We've got some more questions for you, and then if you want to share some
Okay.
more of the sediment on the tickers. And
All right.
and I dropped another link for socialmarketanalytics.com. I shared some screenshots of the dashboard too. If you guys have any questions on it, you can email me at kyle@benzinga.com. I'd love to talk to you guys about it. Joe, love to have you on, man. Can't wait to talk to you guys
All
next
right.
week. We'll try to show some more of the platform. But if you want to pop into that chat and answer some more of the questions,
All
our
right.
guys would love to talk to you.
All right. I'll jump into the chat. Thanks, guys. Talk to you. All right.